Hello, my name is Brian Esparza-Rayo. Today I will be going over my data analysis semester project. Our objective was to build a visualization on Tableau using the developed skills we had learned throughout the course and then ultimately having the ability to tell an analytical story using the data we provided. What I chose to revolve my analysis project around was poverty, specifically in the United States. It's constantly growing and it's an issue that seems to have no end. My project will show a visualization of how major the issue is. At times, we may forget that millions of people live in areas with poor quality of life, in which these people are our neighbors who live in tough times. Moreover, especially when financial strain is greater and natural events that occur, they seem to struggle more. And my project, will break down these areas and use the reliable data to build illustrations to establish why poverty is such an issue in a first world country. So here, what I have is my data that I obtained from Kaggle. So this is titled Cost of Living US, in which it shows the case ID, which goes per county, starts with state, if it's a metropolitan city or not, the area name, the county, family member, has housing costs, food costs, transportation costs, healthcare costs, other necessities, childcare costs, taxes, total cost, median family income. As seen, there's a lot of rows here that contain a lot of data, and which is very helpful for my data presentation because I have a lot that I can use and help get a detailed view of where poverty exists in the United States. And here we have my visualization tablet sheets. I started off with average family income and go into detail, and then we have the where the color blue shows that the average median family income is greater than the rest, of which the lowest would be the red, and here we have Tennessee. And then we can go to my next sheet, which is the affordability gap by state. And you can tell this is a range and has various colors to it, in which this sheet goes affordability gap by state. And for this example, the affordability gap meaning the money left over after paying basic living costs, in which we see Texas is blue and then we have these red around. And so for this one, you can see the top five states by tax burden relative to income, in which this signifies that they may contain stronger economies. And since the next sheet I have is about bottom five states by tax burden, in which this comparison helps us better understand the financial pressure these residents may face in different states. And here I have the financial strain by top 10 counties. So this chart shows the financial stability, and negative values indicate the financial strain, in which is determined by the affordability gap, which you can see here. And then, so this helps identify counties where families may struggle to cover basic living costs. And then you can tell in these first two, New York is the state, because these are the states mentioned right here. And so the next one I have is the top five income level states, and the next sheet is the bottom 10, excuse me, the bottom five. Okay, so now we're taking a look into my dashboard. And my dashboard does consist of a lot of information here. So we start off with the average family income sheet here, and then I have the top five and top bottom five, so better visualization. And then for here we have the affordability gap, which this one helps a little more. That's a comparison. It's more in depth of what's going on here because I break it down by the counties. And then on this, I have the tax burdens, bottom top five. And here we can go goes very much into depth here. You can follow the states here, and if you have the right, not the right one, but like if you hold it here, it does break it down and which these sheets work together. Let's see here. And since you can see if you hover over them, it does highlight them on the map. So the next thing I have, yeah, and then we can also select the states. So we want to see like Alabama, we go hover it and it breaks it down, and then we can go back to normal clicking all, just clicking the remove filter that pops up in here. And then we can slide if you want to see the desired income. Look how it decreases, and you can tell here there's a pattern following, and it's the same as if you moved here. And then the average taxes paid. Same for the taxes paid. You just have to let it load in a second. And you can hover this. And this is a really great example if you really want to go into detail to see what are these states and what parts of the United States is this constant issue with going based off the average family income in order to go throughout the poverty risk across the United States and counties. And here I have my questions, which I use to build my visualizations to answer. Number one being what states in the country experience having the greatest and lowest income. Number two, which counties have the highest affordability gaps. Number three, how do income taxes correlate with family income across the top five and bottom five states? So here we have my story points to go over in order to answer those questions. So when looking at the provided data, it provides detailed visuals that reflect poverty in the United States, and which is back to my board here, my dashboard that allows to go over in depth. You can go over and hover. And so here we start, I provide more information on my board. The interactive map illustrates a whole view of the average family income. And here we go to the third story point, and which I have here that New Jersey is the state with the highest average family income. This is noticeable from the sheets and interactive news. So we follow with my next point, which is Mississippi is the state with the lowest average family income, which I have it here pointed out to reflect just on this state. And then also notice over here that it's one of the bottom five states that by tax burden relative to income. Let's see here. So we follow into this, going into the county in the United States with the lowest affordability gap is Bronx County in New York, which the affordability gap refers to costs are higher than income, as I mentioned before. And you can see there's another, following is the Queens County in New York, and then we have these following here, and you can tell the states by here. And then we have this, so you can notice the difference in amount, but you can also hover and it lets you know. Okay, and then furthermore, there appears to be a correlation between the taxes paid and average family income. The more they make, the more taxes paid, and the less they make, the less taxes they pay. Which here you can get a great view of this. So you can explore, learn more about it, and it helps you. And so what I have here, ultimately in the United States, there are many areas poverty exists in. The interactive dashboard I created can break down data to notice trends. Seeing a higher sign of poverty in the southern states is what my ultimate result was for. So you can see here, there's a pattern, and you break it down, and same here. But especially this little feature here helps you notice this pattern. Look, and then you go here. And in more in depth, you can see the taxes paid. DC is even on here, and then go from there. But yeah, this analysis project I worked on was really a great experience I had in regards to data analysis and creating visualizations. The way I turn my raw data, it can provide meaningful insights when turned into visualizations. Finding the data sets on Kaggle was not too difficult. There was some minor adjustments I had to do, but like any project, you're going to run into those downs. However, at the end, when you put the work in, the results are amazing, are beneficial to your goals as well. Thank you for having me. This is Brian Esparza.